All right, to put this over to Julie Green, this is a Washington Post hit piece, and there was a New York Post piece too. This was a Washington Post hit piece that Clay and I were talking about yesterday. Baptizing. There's my son right there on the front page of the Washington Post, and we are baptizing, and they called us Christian nationalists. Unbelievable. Julie, welcome. It's Wednesday. We just came back from that event. You were there.
Yeah. Wow. We're Christian nationalists. Oh, we are just terrorists. You never know. We might hug somebody too much. You know, seriously, come on.
Yeah.
Really, I know. I was just telling, I think it was, we were talking, Amanda and all the whole team, because we stay at the hotel. We always stay at the same hotel. Your guys' team is at. I don't know how that always happens. It's just a miracle that it happens that way. It's God. And we were just talking about, we're just like, I know when his glory team has the cameras on, you know, and they're recording the baptisms, and it's awesome, you know. But all of a sudden I was praying over somebody, and I just felt like evil. And I was like, that's not his glory camera. And I opened my eyes, and I'm like, it was one of those guys just right here in my face. And I'm like, oh, Lord, keep me walking in love, because, you know, when you're focusing on somebody, you want to pray for somebody, you don't want somebody evil like that in your face.
Right.
They were everywhere. And they kept saying, because even my security team was like, hey, you need to remove yourself, go away in a nice way. There's like, you need to go. And they're like, oh, we're part of Clay's team. And I told him afterward, I'm like, oh, they were not part of Clay's team. Clay does not record this. Right. He never has, as far as, and if he would ever do it, he would let us know. It's always his glory team that does it. It's not Clay's team. So I knew that was a lie.
Yeah, so they were even doing that in the baptism. They were hitting the people when they're baptized. The cameras are right in their face. I mean, that's a personal thing when you get baptized in the name of Jesus Christ. We had to warn them at least 12 times, and they kept banging into people, knocking people over, family members. It was just, next time we're going to be a little bit more aggressive and hold them back with our team, because it's horrific what they do. They don't care.
No, we should just pray over them. Maybe that would scare them away.
There was one of the, I didn't tell Clay who it was. I believe it was the Washington Post. Asked for prayer for one of our prayer team. One of our prayer team prayed over.
And one of my prayer team members prayed for a lady who was part of, I don't know if it was a Washington Post, one other ones.
Right.
And one of my team members, because she knew she was on the evil side. And so she went over to her and she's like, would you like prayer? And she goes, I don't know. She goes, no, would you like prayer? And she goes, okay, yeah, sure. And she did. Yeah. So I was like, well, good. It's because you know what? You're showing her, you know what? Even though you're coming here for evil, we're really coming here for good. And we're going to show you the love of Christ no matter how evil you are. Yeah, I was
standing next to somebody in our team, and the line went back for the baptism way, 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 way back. And they're saying, oh, isn't that great that the Washington Post and the Huffington Times and all these people are filming this, Jesus? And I said, then I overheard him saying, the cameraman, find Trump hats, find Trump hats. They were looking for Trump hats to take pictures of and match it up to the baptism, to create the narrative of Christian nationalists that are MAGA. And I said, this is not, they're not going to say the love of Jesus in this piece. It's going to be Christian nationalists, and there you go. That's exactly what they did.
Even on stage, and I've said the last 2 times, the Lord has me mention these people, because we knew, even though they weren't there before, we know that they've always been there infiltrating. I mean, we weren't born yesterday.
Yep.
And so, I mean, yeah, I would like to call them out, and I like to call them, you know, not so nice names and then repent later, because that's what my flesh would like to do. But God always wants us to show him love. And unless he tells us to do something, then I won't. But yeah, I would have loved to have given peace of my mind, but I stayed walking in love and just stayed focused on the people. But it is, you know, no matter, who cares if we're Trump supporters, if we're not, we're Jesus supporters. That's the whole point is it's Jesus, and it's first and foremost him. So, I mean, I just pray that even though they're involved in these things and they're trying to ridicule, they try to make us look evil, I really hope to God these people come to Christ.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah, Trump is not our king. Jesus is our king. Trump is our president. And people ask me all the time, because I know Clay really well, and he said, well, why would Clay do that? I said, it's absolutely brilliant. If you have nothing to hide, bring him in. Bring him in and see what's going on, and you know what? It's going to be exposure for good, and it's going to be exposure for bad. And 8% of the, Clay said this yesterday, 8% of the ticket sales are coming from mainstream media now for the Reawaken Tour. People are seeing the truth.
What Satan means for harm, God's going to turn it into something good. And speaking of the tour, you can tell me sometime off, just between me and you, who that secret person is, because I'm trying to figure out.
What secret person?
You said there was a secret person that might have been in Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah, there was. Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh. I have no idea. And I'm just like, you need to tell me on that little secret. I mean,
they went incognito. They were nowhere near the stage or anything that I'm aware of. So there might have been 2.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I just love the fact that we are there and what happens there. I really do. But yeah, I am curious who was there that we didn't know about. But it really is fun just seeing the people's reactions and just seeing what God is doing in their life. And it's just like we're, all of us are just like we're all big one happy family. It's like a family reunion every single month. And so it's fun. I love them. And I love to see how God is. Like we were talking about when Clay and I were on with General Flynn on my channel. I was just like, I just love to see, because I'm like, you guys called it the Reawaken America Tour. And that's exactly what it's doing. It was so prophetic what you named it, because that's what it's doing. It's so awesome.
Yeah, it is so awesome. And it is like a family. And it's so great to see the people there when we go see them. This was probably anywhere from 5,500 to 7,000 people there. Wow. We probably, I was talking to General Flynn about this. We could have, if we would have got a firm go in the beginning on this facility, we could have doubled the attendance sale because there was enough room to do it.
It was huge.
It was huge.
That place is huge. And the mainstream media and everybody, just a backlash, you're doing something right. Mm-hmm. Just like if you're a person like me and you're out here and you're saying things, and of course that, they're out at Rolling Stones and the Washington Post and the Washington Journal, whatever, whoever they are, and they're all writing pieces on you. You're just like, well, I got to be doing something right if you're getting that much pushback, because they don't like you for telling the truth.
Right.
They're not gonna point you out. You're gonna be under their radar if you're lying just like they are.
Yep.
You're telling the truth and it's getting attention because it's setting people free. That's when they don't like it.
That's right. And then you get some inside the church too, the religious spirit that come up and say, well, why are you with so-and-so? They're not my type of Christian, or maybe they're not even a Christian. Maybe they're a Muslim, maybe they're Jewish, maybe they're a Hindu, whatever. I always say Mark 16:15. We're called to preach the gospel from east to west, to north to south, to every creature.
I've cried over that more lately because I've seen it personally myself. Yeah. And I'm shocked by it. I'm shocked by who. I'm shocked by how. Because we're supposed to be fighting an enemy. Yeah. We're not supposed to be fighting each other. And so, we're all supposed to love one another. We're supposed to be in one accord. We are the body of Christ. He's the head, we're the body. So we're all supposed to be together. We're not supposed to be, well, I'm over here because I'm this, I'm a Methodist, or I'm a Baptist, or I'm this or that. No, you're supposed to be in one, because we're one with the Lord. We're supposed to be together with him, fighting an enemy, not fighting amongst ourselves. So it is disheartening, but at the same time, the Lord has really been, I've been crying about it, been praying about it, and I've had a lot of prophetic words about it. And there's been a lot of warnings, because he's been warning, just like with the wilderness. He gave them a choice.
That's right.
Pick a side. And that's what he's doing again.
Yeah, there's no middle ground. You're all in or you're all out. Period.
Right.
And that's for that time. We'll get into what's going on in the world and your prophetic words here. But any last thoughts about coming off? Each time I come back from one of these, I say, well, that was the best one yet. And I'm not kidding. It's the truth. This one was probably the best one yet. I don't know how God keeps taking them up so high.
Yeah. I would say spiritually, I would say, it was. Yeah. It was the best one yet.
And how about the woman who hadn't walked in 13 years, gets out of the wheelchair?
Yes, and there was that woman who got a wheelchair, and then there was another person who had a cane. Yeah. There was another person that had one of my prayer team members. She actually prayed over somebody who had a surgery, and she had to use a cane. And they heard her back pop and everything. She threw the cane and started walking. And we just got an update from one of your team members the next day saying that she was healed and she still had no pain. So it was just so amazing to see the miracles that God is doing.
Was there a man with a cane that got healed too?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he got baptized first. He came in he got baptized, and he said, "Can I be prayed over so I can walk again?" I said, "Yeah," because we had a line to baptize. We didn't have time to pray there. We turned him over the prayer team, and then I heard he got baptized and was healed.
Yeah. And then there was one, I want to say this really quick too. There was a man I talked to. I've dealt with a lot of people who were veterans and has had PTSD. We've prayed over many people, no matter what state we're in, no matter what event we're in. We're always seen to pray for military and veterans. And there was this man who had almost committed suicide. He came up, him and his wife, their marriage was in shambles. He was anxious. He was anger and anxiety. And he's like, I had PTSD so bad, I almost killed myself last month. And I said, and he was saying all these different things to me. And the Lord just started speaking through me and started speaking to him directly. And I also gave him how I was. I didn't have PTSD, but I was fearful and anxiety stricken and hated myself, all these different things that I was, it was relating to myself. And so I started telling him all these things and he started crying and I started praying for him and the Lord delivered him right then and there. And I said, if the Lord can, and then the Lord started prophesying. I remember the Lord saying that he was going to take him to use his voice to help other people like him and to help deliver them. And I said, you're on that side of the chain because, that square we have when we pray. I said, but I used to be outside of that, and now I'm inside, and God's saying that you can do the same thing. So don't ever think just because of what your own ability is or whatever, God can take anyone as long as you're willing and obedient. That's right. And so seeing him be delivered from that, and I could see that his eyes changed, his facial expression changed, everything about him. He went from just angry looking and just so broken to like light shining, and he just was happy and crying. It was just so amazing to see what God did in him. It was awesome. That was one of my favorite parts of the whole entire event was praying over that man and seeing what God did for him.
Usually every time I'm at one of these events and I speak, I always call out the veterans to stand up or raise their hand so that we can acknowledge the veterans. And that's what's amazing about this Reawaken tour is you're seeing Christians coming in and don't know how to be patriots and are becoming patriots. And you see patriots coming in and don't know anything about Christ are giving their life to Christ, and we're coming together in one accord. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
It is beautiful. It is so beautiful. And no matter where I'm at, I've seen people be delivered and healed and set free or come to Christ. And the momentum is picking up and you can feel it. And so that's why I think each and every one of these Reawaken America tours gets bigger. And I told my team, I'm like, I'm sad there's one not in December because you never know what's going to happen in December. But
that's right.
I think December is going to be good for something else, but that's just me. And no, I'm not giving dates. Anybody who's thinking I'm giving a date, because I'm not.
Well, maybe we can have our own event in Arizona. We're having a get together in Arizona in December after before I go to the border.
Oh,
yeah. So
I told somebody from the Reawaken America tour that I would go down to the border and pray.
Yeah, they need it. We're going
because they said churches won't go. And
no,
I'm
they
like,
won't.
Well, I know people who will.
Yep. This border is we're gonna do a part 2 to our border series. So we're gonna be going down with Christy Hutcherson's team the second week of December, and some bad areas, but we're gonna get the truth out. So
I think that might be her. I can't remember her name. I have to have my assistant give me her card.
Probably. She was at Reawaken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
She's feisty.
She's feisty. Yep. And
that's her. Okay.
She's not afraid. She's going to take us.
I've met so many people, so many names. I can see her face, but I couldn't remember her name. But I could see her face, and she was telling me about all what's going on. And I said, "Don't worry." I said, "You can count on us. We'll come down and pray with you."
Yeah, I'm terrible at names, but I don't ever forget a face.
I don't ever forget a face either. Yeah, that's why I said I won't forget her face, but I forgot a name. So thank you for saying her name.
Yes, she's a warrior. All right, so we want to kick into any prophetic that you have, and we can talk about what's going on in the world.
Yeah. So what I want to do, actually, I want to start out with this is part of the one that we kind of were starting to talk about at the Reawaken America tour when we were doing our show together at that particular point. There was one, I heard that actual early morning, and remember we were talking about, because God keeps bringing up Turkey.
Oh, yeah.
And remember I said, Turkey, I say this country's name again. Something significant is about to take place there. Watch, I told you things hidden there are about to be released. So I could not remember exactly what he said about Turkey. So I wanted to make sure that I had that out. But he has mentioned Turkey to me about 4 or 5 times, I think. I can probably look him up here while we're talking. But he just kept mentioning it to me over and over and over again. And so I knew eventually we would hear something because it's God's intel and he's never wrong. So
Right.
I can be wrong, but I know God's not wrong, especially if he mentions it that much. So
Exactly.
And then he talked about Cambodia will be in the news for a surprising reason. And then, so this prophetic word I gave out today, and it's called the great military moves are about to be seen. So great military moves are about to be seen. So this is the one I heard that day I talked to you, but I just gave it out today because this is my first day back. But so not only was Turkey in that one, but he talked about other things that I know that you would be you'd want to hear about. So he says, my children, I told you I have infiltrated the infiltrators. I love it when he says that. More whistleblowers are coming forward. Itself or what it stands for.
Wow.
No matter how hard they try or how much money they throw at it, my army is moving closer and it will take them all out of their positions of power. So not only Washington, D.C. itself, so he's talking about the actual place, and then he says what it stands for. And we know what it stands for. It stands for the Luciferians. It stands for all the, Satan worshipers, all of the what they do to children. It stands for a global government. That's why the Washington, D.C., and I've even told those people myself, okay, we are United States citizens. We're citizens of America. But how come we've never, and I even questioned this as a little child, but why is it that is in that location?
Right.
Why is it in the District of Columbia, which is not technically a part of the United States of America?
Exactly.
So why would a capital of a nation not be in the nation? I mean, it's kind of like throwing it in your face and going, you're stupid and you can't figure this out.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do. They do these things to think that no one is going to question, no one's going to look, no one's going to ask questions. I mean, really, this is the District of Columbia because that's just where it's at. They want you to be, what's the word, dumbified?
Yeah.
if that's the right word to use, but yeah. So then he goes on to say that he said my governments control this earth. That's one thing that we have to understand is it's his government, not the one that we see right now. And then he said, so my children, my government controls this earth, not man. So watch me move my hand across this land, but also across the nations. So he talks about that a lot. And then he talks about rolling blackouts. He says rolling blackouts all over will be reported, and why they are taking place is not the reason the news media will tell you. Removal. Military action is taking place. So he did talk about rolling blackouts, and he says the news media is going to say it's something totally different than what it actually is.
Well, I don't know if I showed you this in Pennsylvania, but there is unprecedented military operations away, aircraft, and not only in the United States, but also Israel. My general was called up last Tuesday to active duty, and that never happens. So watch Israel. Israel had an aircraft in Delaware in the United States. Also, France took their military out of Lebanon, and Israeli military was in Paris. So Israel's up to something big when it comes to Lebanon, Hezbollah, and Iran. Iran was hacked yesterday by an anonymous. Did you hear about that? Mainstream media. They don't report
They had an
it.
explosion. What kind of explosion?
A plant was exploded. probably was a certain agency in a nation that I'm going to next month.
Wow.
Things are heating up. You saw Vladimir Putin warn Hezbollah last week not to mess around, and Israel warned Hezbollah again today. War is imminent in Israel. You do not call up a general from retired to active duty unless something major is going to happen.
All right. I wish I had all those pulled up right now. I've had so many on Israel about they are trying to infiltrate, they're trying to start a war, and this is one I heard this morning. Okay, but if we have enough time, I will pull some of those other ones up because I know I've given some of them on the show already. This is from early this morning. Jerusalem will be in your news big time, and something significant is about to take place in Israel. Israel is about to receive a major victory. Oh, your enemies will try and I did not edit this, to rear their ugly heads because they have tried to stop this and they can't. So military action will be seen taking place against you. But Israel, you will rise higher and stronger, and you will know that I am still the same God who protects you. So that was just one part. So he's talked about there's going to be a major victory in Israel, which we all know what that victory is because he talked about that several months ago. I think he talked about that end of last year, and people thought I was nuts about Benjamin Netanyahu. But because of this major victory, they can see it on the horizon, and now they are getting angry, so they're going to start to do something. The same thing is going to happen in the United States of America. They see that what is going to happen in the next couple weeks, because there's a lot that's going to happen, and it's not going in their direction. There's been people who've been sending me things, or I've even seen, because I don't watch the news, they're talking specifically about a tsunami and a certain color of red. Now, God's been talking about that. Why? It's inevitable. They even said it. Why? Because God always gives us the news before the news. God has been saying it first before they even thought about it.
Yep.
But because it's so inevitable, and because they're losing, this is something else. Hold on. I got to read this else to you. Where is it at? I got to find it.
While you're pulling that up, I'll tell you about Benjamin Netanyahu's tweet yesterday that we retweeted. He was talking about battle plans to protect the United States of America. He's not even the prime minister yet. And the guy presenting him with the battle plans... So there's going to be a really good chance we get to meet Benjamin Netanyahu when we're in Israel next month.
I wish I would have gotten tickets in time.
That's amazing. There might be an opportunity that we could get some extra tickets.
They just set my alarm off. Oh, no.
What kind of alarm?
My fire alarm.
At your house?
Even though my house is not that old, I'm getting a new furnace put in. So.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to set it off.
It's okay.
Smoke from the furnace.
Okay. Thank you.
Live TV, isn't it great?
Yeah.
I didn't hear the alarm.
Oh, you didn't?
No, must be a quiet alarm because I didn't hear it.
Oh, no, it's so obnoxiously loud.
Yeah,
but I can smell the smoke. That's why. Yeah, I can smell it.
Because they're testing the furnace?
Yeah. They're restarting the new one. But anyway, what were we talking about before?
Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel?
Yeah. So Benjamin Netanyahu, God has been saying, now this is something I said many times before, I'm going to keep saying again. He is coming back with somebody else that we know. It's not going to be just one and not the other. It is going to be both of them. And so this is something I just get so excited about God's doing.
And sometimes because you know who I talk to in closed doors, that sometimes all I can do is smile. I can't say anything. I wish I could say more, but I can't.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I don't want you to, because then it would stop because that's why I have to protect myself prophetically. Yep. That's why people are like, didn't you see that on the news? No, I can only see what I'm allowed to see. Yep. I'm only allowed to see No,
right.
and I don't want to accept its lies anyway. All the things I see are things that have already been fulfilled. All right. He says, this is on the same one from this morning. Civil unrest is about to occur. It will look like and they lost anyway. They will try other ways to stop the lame duck. But that lame duck is being removed by me. So we all know who that lame duck would be. So, but I know he's being removed before then anyway. But he's being removed very quickly, I think, personally. But I don't exactly know when. But this is something else that he says in this word. He said, someone is about to come forward with truth your enemies had no idea anyone had. They will not be able to lie to get out of this one. No, their gig is up, you would say. This man will be like a David of today. And all it takes is one shot to knock the giants down dead. Yes, the giants against you have no idea what is about to take place against them, and they won't until it's too late, saith the Lord. Then he says, a takedown of the Biden is about to be seen, but all who are with him and behind him are all coming down with him. These are the days of the giants to fall. I liked how he said, this is a David of today. All it takes is one shot, because that's all it took with the one originally.
In one stone.
Yeah, and he uses those comparisons a lot. That's why it's always important to go back into the written word to see what happened back then, because
And
he's like,
he had you emphasize the word gig.
yeah,
So
yeah, he did.
there's something deeper to the gig.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I love talking to you. I'm just saying.
You know, when God emphasizes a word, you got there's
Yeah.
deeper treasures inside there.
Yeah. That's why whenever he mentions something, but when he says something like that, I'm always like, God, really? I mean, I have to question, like, is that just me thinking that, like, or saying, because that's like but no, it's
That's how
him.
he works.
That's how he works.
See, that's what you can tell. I don't follow a lot of prophetic people. But the prophecies that I do follow, I can tell if they're a prophet of God or not of God, because I know how God speaks.
Uh-huh.
And there's a pattern to it. And if that pattern is of man, you will see the pattern.
Yep. Yeah. So then now he's mentioned this country many times, and I know, and I've said this before, many times before, they were really in the news like they are today. Japan.
We were
He
just talking about
keeps
Japan
mentioning
yesterday.
So Japan, he says, will continue to be in the news. Japan has something significant your enemies want that they cannot have, and they never will get it. I'm about to move my hand and take them all out at once.
Wow.
So Japan has something. I don't know exactly what it is, but he's mentioned them several different times. He's been mentioning them, I don't know, for probably the last 7-8 months. He keeps saying, mention Japan. He even talked about, this was a prophecy that was fulfilled, and it was a huge prophecy fulfillment, because he even warned Japan of China's move. And China's been moving on Japan for a while. And then all of a sudden, he warned him of North Korea. And look what North Korea's been doing. God even talked about ballistic missiles, and he talked about Kim Jong-un. And all of a sudden, then he started doing it. Was in that same week.
Yeah, Kim Jong-un, 3 weeks ago, shot of Japan.
More than once.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that thing is in Japan. I'll have to do some asking, because I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. The Lord didn't let me know. Because like I said, he doesn't give us, especially me, he doesn't give me every piece to every puzzle. And that's why everyone's like, when's Trump coming back? I don't know. I just know he is. And I just know it's really soon, but I don't know exactly a date. God had never give me dates. That's why I don't usually follow people who give a lot of dates, because unless it's of God, I just don't see him give dates.
Yeah.
Because why would he give a date? Then your enemies would know that date.
Exactly. And anybody that's getting any type of military intelligence is not going to give a date either, because you don't want your enemy to know when you're going to attack. Now, they may give you a false date, but the Lord keeps telling me, expect the unexpected, so nobody knows when this event's coming, but it will hit.
Right. I know it's coming soon. I know it.
We were walking yesterday. I think I was talking to my wife. My wife will be back in Missouri with us. We were talking that and my son too, we felt like there was something significant yesterday happened in the spiritual realm. That there has been a breakthrough, and there's going to be a boom, go up.
Yeah. So that is farther down on this. I'll go back up to where I was going to read it earlier, but hold on. He's been talking about, okay, get ready, my children, for sudden news, for sudden changes, and for suddenly to take place. Some will look good, and others will look like the worst case scenario.
Yep. So
get ready to stand by me and with me, saith the Lord your Redeemer. Now, he's been talking about suddenlies and sudden changes, great changes, rattlings, shakings, anything that you can describe something shocking. That's what he's been saying. And anything that we can do is like when I was up on stage at the Reawaken America tour in Pennsylvania. The Lord had me read, and I actually have this prophetic word up, is talk about the rise of my nation. Now, God says the rise of my United States. It's God's country.
Yep.
It's not the enemy's country. It's God's country.
That's right.
That's why we're going to see God's vengeance, because it's his nation. And that's why the church has to get on God's page, because, the United States of America has truly been a gift to us. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, it was way before our time, but before, there's people that have literally let it go away because they got complacent and they took their freedoms for granted.
That's right.
And that's why just the other day I was doing when I pre-recorded for the week I was gone, and I was on Monday. I think it was on Mondays. I bawled. People have died in the blood that was shed for this country.
Yeah.
Just like Cain and Abel. That blood spoke to him. Mm-hmm. The blood of all those military men and women who risked their life and sacrificed themselves for our freedoms. That speaks to God.
Yeah.
God doesn't forget, ever. And we can't forget that. We can't forget the sacrifice of Jesus, and we can't forget the sacrifice of all those ones that went before us. There's, people my son's age that never had a life. They never got to live because they knew how important it was for this country to stay free.
Yeah. And
that's why it's so important for us to fight like we are right now.
Yeah, this is our new 1776 moment. As General McInerney says, this is our World War II battle, the turning point.
Yeah, and I keep saying this is our American Revolutionary War, 1776, because you know what? It was, not just a country. It was the one world government trying to infiltrate, trying to destroy. And just like back in that particular point, they were down to nothing.
Yep.
They had nothing. If there were odds against them, every odd that could have been against them was against them. But they kept fighting, no matter what. They laid down. They laid down their life, anything they had. They gave up all their fortunes. They did everything they could to save this nation, and they won against the greatest country at that time.
World power.
And now we're the greatest country.
Yep, super world power. I was in after the event in Pennsylvania. I went to the San Diego Padres Philadelphia Phillies baseball game, the National League Championship game where the Phillies won. So I'm standing and putting my hand on the flag as I see 11:11 Mountain Time pop up. Just as I say this, I'm praying to the Lord. A tear comes to my cheek as I'm praying for this nation. I turned over and there's the Liberty Bell cracked. They have a symbol of it, and he said that's going to be my capital.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
Pennsylvania is that seed of the nation.
Yep.
And God says it's harvest time for that seed.
And there will be a new Liberty Bell.
One that doesn't have a crack in it.
Exactly.
One that's made whole.
Yep.
I'm gonna try to stop not crying, because I could get into that and then I wouldn't be able to say anything else that God had to say. But this is why all this is so pivotal. This is why we are living in a time right now. Like no other time in history.
No. It's the greatest time in the history of the world to be alive. Yes, there's a lot of bad stuff, but when you got that shalom that God has it and seen what we've seen, the joy that people are getting and the victory that's coming through Jesus, it's worth every aching bone and sickness that we get from seeing so many people or whatever it may be.
Pennsylvania, because I gave it on stage on Friday, but one of the parts in it is he said,
yes. I heard the same thing by some real. Yes, I heard the same thing.
I'm not surprised.
But I'm gonna throw a name out here, and I'm just gonna throw it out and let people do your own thing. I wish I had a picture of this, but I just looked it up today. Ukraine. Where is she? That's all I'll say.
Oh my goodness. 2 weeks ago.
And I think I didn't know her name at the time. I think I mentioned who I thought it was. And you
did.
Yeah, my information was confirmed in Pennsylvania.
God's awesome. He said, my children, I will say this again, arrests are being made now. Your enemies can't hide it much longer, that they are failing to deceive this world, that they are actually in control. So they've been trying to deceive this world that they are in control, but it's not working out, is basically what he's saying, because there absolutely are not. I will show this is true. And then later on down this, and I know that you would appreciate it, of course, I read the Turkey one, and I read Cambodia. And then he says this, changes are about to be seen everywhere in all governments. Great changes are happening because a great move of my military is happening all over this world. So God keeps talking about his military, and he's not only just talking about, like the United States military, or whatever. He's really talking about his army, the army of the Lord.
Yep.
There's moves being made everywhere. And then I love what he said. There was a part of it he talked about Trump, and I have to find it. I loved what he said. It was pretty awesome. That's because I'm on the wrong one. I'm on the wrong one. I read the wrong one. I read the one from today. Hold on. Here we go. Okay, I thought I was on the one I read the other day. This was from... Okay, sorry. I get confused with some... So the one that I read about the arrests are being made now, that's what I heard on the 22nd. All right, now... He says, woe to those who attempted to steal my nation, who tried to bring a great divide, who tried everything to tear it apart little by little to satisfy your appetite for a global government. Your power hunger and your thirst for such a thing. You couldn't see me coming. You couldn't see your failures, your continuous mistakes you made. Your pride and ego has grown so high you couldn't see the people right next to you betraying you to save themselves. Then he said, my hand is moving in this hour to take each and every one of you out of your seats of power, out of those positions you do not belong in. How dare you try to steal my United States? So then he goes on and on and on about warning what he's going to do to them. Mm-hmm. Then I want to get down, because for sake of time. And all the money you so happily padded your pockets with is all coming back into the hands of the rightful people. Your house of cards is coming down. You lose, and my children win. These are the days of great falls of the enemies of Almighty God, and nothing can stop that. Then he goes down a little bit more. Oh, I think you'll like this one too. I'll get down to the one with Trump. I'm trying to get there. Gates, this name will be in your news. Bill Gates is about to be exposed. His foundation is also about to be exposed. All who are with him are about to be exposed, and nothing can stop that. So, and I know that you probably have heard or know something about him. I don't really know, besides I don't like the guy.
Yeah.
I don't know much about him besides he's just evil.
Yeah.
But then not only did he mention him, because he's mentioned Bill Gates many, many, many times, but now he's saying his foundation. So I thought that, and he emphasized that. He's pure evil.
He sure is.
Then, okay, I gotta go back here. I gotta find this one. Okay, here we go. Again, I say, woe to those in D.C. who are against me. You can't have my nation. Your power is not enough to keep it in your grasp. It's not big enough to take it down. It's not big enough to hold on and control. No, my hand is moving right now to take back this nation and give the power to my chosen people. Again, God keeps saying that over and over again. Mm-hmm. It's his chosen. Mm-hmm. You can't stop my chosen people from taking back their positions, because he's had people that have gotten their positions taken away. And God is saying he's giving them back. That rightfully belongs to them. You can't stop. And then he says, Donald Trump. He's on his way back, and how he takes his position back on center stage, you will never see that coming, because you won't see me coming, and I am with him. I love how he says that, because no matter what, people keep thinking 2024, it's another election, another election. Back. He is going to come back in God's way. It's not man's way, because man's way would get credit. Mm-hmm. God says he's going to bring him back in unconventional ways. Why would he have him bring him back just in a normal election? First of all, he's not going to let it go that long. It's gone on long enough. Secondly, why would he let man get his glory? He doesn't do that.
Nope.
It's not going to get his glory. This is going to be something that's going to be so earth-shattering that's bringing him back. That is unequivocal. It cannot be denied. It cannot be. No one's equal to how they can say it only can be God.
Exactly.
It only can be God. Then he goes on to say, my army is coming, and it can't be stopped. Mm-hmm. This nation is mine. I have blessed it. No one can stop what is about to take place. All I need, now I love this, all I need is one day to remove you all from your places of power like you never were there. I will wipe out your plans. I will wipe out all the destruction you caused. Yes, I can make it as if none of you were ever in power. I am wiping the slate clean on my nation. The blood that has been shed for this nation cries out to me for justice, and justice is being served. That's God. God is a God of justice.
Yep.
And so when people see all this injustice, that's the reason why I fight so hard. When I see injustice, that's why I fight. Yep. It's injustice. No, God's a God of justice, of law and order. And what we've seen is exactly what God said, and it was going to happen in his word. Evil would be perceived as good, and good as evil. You're baptizing people. Back in the day, that was what the news was about.
Yeah.
Good news. Like, if you have bad things going on, there's something going on in the church, look what's going on in that church. And people just, it was a move. I mean, people really, it was, everybody went to church. Everybody went to church. It was just a thing. But now it's Christian nationalists.
And guess what? They love their country. Oh, boy.
Yeah. How dare you love your country? How dare you want a border when other countries can have a border? But you, United States, you can't.
Or how about this one?
I got to find that prophetic word about Russia. The Lord has given me so much on Russia. And I know I've given some out to you. Oh, here it is. He always does this to me when I'm like, I don't know if I can find it in time. This is from October 7th. Do not believe these moves are true. There is much more going on in this situation you do not see. My children decree that all the truth will be revealed, saith the Lord. He's mentioned this so many times about things are not how they appear to be with Russia. Back in January, he said, because I mentioned this many of the times on your show, he said, Russia's going to be in your news more and more, and it's going to surprise you what side they're actually on.
Yeah.
He's been talking about Russia. He's been talking about, and of course, then all that Russia-Ukraine war. Then he's been talking about what's happening in the water. Then he's been talking about submarines. Then he's been talking about this and all that's all going on. Now you have a doomsday submarine. Is it still missing?
No, it's come back up.
It has come back up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a spot that it should be, based on what we were talking about, the Antarctic and the, what was the other one? I can't remember where it was off the top of my head, but it's popped
There
back
was
up.
two.
There's
Yeah.
two, yep.
And it happened. It's funny that it happened in October, and I had to seriously go watch that movie.
Yeah.
I never watched it in my life. I heard about it. I just never watched it. And I started profusely laughing in the middle of watching this movie because it was about Russia and this nuclear submarine that went missing.
Exactly. Yep. And he was trying
to defer away from his nation.
So you had that prophetic word on October 17th. That was last Monday, right?
Yeah. Early morning hours. I don't know, around 5 o'clock probably or before.
So since then, they were trying to spin. Russia.
They want to blame it on Russia. It's like I said in that movie. I just started laughing because the movies they make sometimes are actually they're either shoving it in your face, or I believe some people in Hollywood are actually trying to warn you things are going to happen. So just watch out for this and know and remember this movie. But something he mentioned, and I don't know exactly what this word means. I remember I think it was a ship at one time. Poseidon. This name will be in your news. Was it Poseidon?
Yeah, I think so.
What, like the Titanic? It's sunk or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know I'll look it up.
And then he talks about Macedonia. He's talked about Argentina. He said something significant is about to take place there. He's mentioned, and then he also mentions in the same word Venezuela, and Greece. These countries will also be in your news for a significant reason. Yeah. So he mentions Macedonia, Argentina, Venezuela, and Greece in a very short amount of time in this prophetic word on the 17th. And he says governments are about to take major hits all over this world, and they will all fall who are against me. And then in the same word, he keeps mentioning whistleblowers. Now, he gave me a prophetic word long time ago because he said this is the days of whistleblowers. This was back beginning of this year. Whistleblowers are about to come out with truth regarding China.
Yeah.
Of the United States. All the ones paid who are in political positions, all those in corporate positions, all those who are in the sports industry, and all in Hollywood.
China tapes.
Oh, yes. No more secrets. It's all coming out. All the traitors to this nation will be exposed and judged by me. So there are many people who it's going to explode, and it's going to make, if you think our enemies are angry now and foaming at the mouth, just watch how angry they're going to be with this midterms.
Exactly. I'm trying to find it. There was a report that I know I tweeted out yesterday. It looks like it's gone. Maybe Twitter deleted it. I don't remember who the news source was, but it's a reputable news source, said that there is a major whistleblower coming forward today connected to China.
Are you serious?
No, yeah, I tweeted it out last night. I can't find it. It's like they deleted it, unless I missed it. So we'll see what big news comes out in regards to China in this. It's a whistleblower.
Now, God has talked about China many times and many different prophetic words. And one of the things that he talked about is he's bringing them down to their knees just like he did Egypt. Remember, Egypt never came back to their superpower position or any position really at all that was of any significance because of what they did against God's people. And that's what he's doing with China.
I can't believe it's disappeared. Maybe they deleted
it wouldn't surprise me if they took it down, because that's another thing. It was another prophetic word I think I gave out this morning, or I think it was from the 18th. I'm sorry, I have so many of these up right now. He talked about social media. Their social media companies are kind of come down. They're going to come down pretty hard. And he mentions Twitter, Facebook. I can't remember the other ones. I'd have to go back. And
Twitter, they deleted it. It's gone. I only had time to put it on Twitter. I didn't have time to put it anywhere else.
You said the truth, so they don't like that.
Yep.
And then I know we talked about when we were on the show in Pennsylvania about the UK.
A new prime minister Monday.
Yes. So the Lord's been speaking about this, and you guys know this because we talked about several different times. Also, it's another thing about so many people resigning.
Yeah.
I could just say this is a year of the resignation. This is a year of resignation. That's what I'll say. Look at how many. This is the third prime minister they've had this year alone.
Yeah.
Same thing with Israel. The fifth election they have had. Why? Because they keep trying to get the result that they want. And then, of course, the one that was put in there by because God says he was forcing these people to resign. There are chess moves being played all over the world in many different nations. People are just thinking that it's happening just in our country. No, there's chess moves being made behind the scenes in other nations. And another nation to look out for, look at Canada. I have talked about Canada many times. I've talked about Trudeau and who Trudeau is connected to and how he's going to fall. He is going to come crashing. Of power. I was actually talking to somebody in the green room who is from Canada, and I was talking to him about some of these prophetic words that I've heard about Trudeau, and I said, just watch. And he goes, oh yeah, things are going on. I said, oh, are they really? Because I only hear what God says, and then when I hear these confirmations, I get excited. There are people all over that country in very high political positions trying to get him to resign and being removed.
Next week to talk about that.
Isn't God so awesome?
Yeah.
It's so fun talking about God's news. It really is, because and then when you see it happen, I just get all giddy inside like a little schoolgirl, because you hear these things and you know them in your heart, and some people think you're just a crazy lunatic. Like I know when I say Trump's coming back without an election, they're just like, how can that be possible?
They might even put you in the Rolling Stone if you say that.
Oh, I've already been in Rolling Stone. They might put me on again. I'm just going to start laughing and just go, thank you.
Isn't that a song on the cover of Rolling Stone?
Yes, and I felt so bad because I didn't know that was a song.
Yeah.
And General Flynn was talking about that when he was on my show. I didn't get it. And I was like, and afterwards, my CEO, Mary Lou, she goes, Julie, you and Clay just didn't get it. And I was like, oh, no, I feel bad.
Because me and General Flynn are older than you guys. So that's an old song. I think it's from the 70s, 80s. I don't know.
I'm like, I didn't get it. Because, and I thought he was just making, like, just being funny. But I didn't actually get that was actually a song.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I feel so bad. And then when I saw him, I was talking to him about the Reawaken American tour. I should have mentioned it. But there's just so many things going on. And I didn't mention it to him. But yeah, he's such a good guy. I love him. He's such a down-to-earth man. I mean, he's just truly a genuine. I love his soul. I love his heart. He's a sweet person.
Yeah, all the attacks that he gets, I know the truth about it. Yeah, you pray for him because all I can say is I know him, and he's the real deal.
Yeah, he is. And I can know a person by talking to them.
And I've gotten to know him now over the course of Jeez, well over 3 years, maybe 4 years. Mm-hmm. So it's been a long time.
Yeah, I've just met him a couple times, and he's so genuine and true, and he loves this nation.
He does,
and that's the reason why for what he's doing, he could have just retired and just gone away, but he's not.
God's not done with him.
Oh no!
I'll have to remind him that. I had a prophetic dream that he is twofold. That he is America's new General George Washington. And then as general, what do you do after, what did General Washington do? He was a general first and then became president.
God's going to use him in a glorious way.
Yep.
And I don't know if he doesn't know it yet, but yeah, God's going to use him for more than just what he's doing now.
Yeah, he's such a humble man that even if he does know, I don't think he's past that point. You know, you go through the battles that he's gone through.
Yeah.
It's for such a time as this. You can't have an ego when you go through those battles. That's a way that puts you back on your peg.
Oh, yeah. This is definitely, I think for all of us who have dealt with this is a really, a humbling time. There is like, well, Julie, aren't you going to stop? No, you don't ever, especially when you're getting this kind of blowback and this is when you know you're doing something right. Don't ever bow and don't ever back off.
Nope.
When you are fighting, because all the strategies of war, if you know what the enemy does, it's really easy to point them out. And it's really easy to know how to defeat them. And first and foremost, God never loses.
That's right.
If you're always on God's side, you're not going to lose them.
Yeah, I was trying to go find that again, but they did take it down.
There is
some news out of Israel, though. As the scripture said, in the end days, Israel will be blessed more than any time in the history of the world.
Oh, yeah.
And now they're pumping gas out of a gas field in Israel. Israel is energy independent for the first time ever. And there's more finds to happen. That's amazing.
Yeah, because that's one of the things that the Lord said in these prophetic words. I'm pulling them up because I know I have several of them about Israel. But they do have stuff that everybody else wants. And so that doesn't surprise me that they're finding those things. Let's see here. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. 8 or 9. Oh, no, it's thinking. It's still going. But Israel, they're going to try to attack Israel. Mm-hmm. It's not going to work. And one of the things that God was saying, he's going to show them that he still is the same one. The same one. Because he doesn't change. He is the same God.
And here's Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday. I love this. I've never heard him say this before. He says, I won't bow my head to U.S. lawmakers.
No. That is one man, besides, of course, President Donald Trump, that I would just want to just hug and just say, you're awesome. I love you. God bless you. You're so special. And thank you for fighting. He just has that. To me, he's the Donald Trump of Israel.
He is.
He's that strong, and he has that presence about him. And you know that he's anointed and appointed by God. You can see it. And everybody's like, I can't believe you. I had got so much blowback from it. He did this and he did that and he did this. Stop judging, first of all. And you can't believe everything that you're hearing.
Right. You
don't know what's true and what's disinformation.
And even if he did, I'm told, and I've had a prophetic dream about Benjamin Netanyahu, that he repented and he's cleansed.
Anybody, no matter who you are and no matter what you've ever done, God can cleanse you, and then he washes you as white as snow. So we can't pick out what did Jesus say? You can't pick out the speck in somebody's eye when you have a stick in your own, or log in your own. Yeah. And so, I mean, seriously, but that's what the church has gotten in trouble with.
Yep. That's right. We're a hospital for sinners, not a museum for saints. And we got to get over that. And just that's why I get so many at-me's when I talk to this person that may be a Muslim, or this person that may be Jewish, or this person that may be Hindu. I thought that's what Jesus wanted us to do. Go in and preach the gospel from east to west to north to south to every creature. Not where it's convenient, not where it's easy, not where they're already Christians.
No. You know what? We've had more pushback, unfortunately, with Christians.
Absolutely, no doubt.
Religion. One of the things that I heard this morning that actually was really hard to hear is he says religion is a glory killer.
It is.
And a miracle squencher. And so people don't realize this is what the Lord said. Even Jesus would not be allowed and invited in most churches today because he would be too radical.
Well, that just shows you how perfect God is. And the book of Revelation, the seventh church, Laodicea, we're in the seventh, last church age. We're in Laodicea as we right now. Not only were they lukewarm, and he said, I'd vomit you out of mouth, but it's the only church that Jesus is knocking at the door of the church because they let him out. They wouldn't let him in.
One of the things I was crying one time, I said, Lord, what do you mean they won't let you in? Like, it just, so it's like, what? You know, it hurt me to hear these words, these warnings to the church, because you're thinking the church is stronger than it is, and you're realizing how it wasn't. Now you're realizing why things had to get uncomfortable.
Yep.
Now you're realizing there had to be things that shake people up.
Yep.
Because people are in their padded pews and thinking, well, I'm a Christian, and you're thinking you're holier than now, and you're better than somebody else. When there is, one of the things he said, there's a dying world out there needing my church, needing my body to come alive.
Yep.
And to be filled with my glory.
Yep.
And so that's why it's really important for us right now to pray. We got to pray over our rightful president, pray over these generals, pray over. There are things, and there's people that are in covert operations and making decisions. The Lord showed me. I don't know what they are. They make these decisions that are hard for themselves. Hard. People they've lost loved ones because of decisions they've had to make. So we have to be praying, and not only praying for the church to wake up, because just like with Joshua and Caleb, when they came back with a good report, we're giving people a good report, and people don't want to receive it.
That's right. The giants are too big. No, the giants are not too big with our God.
That's right. That's why I was like, why are so many people so upset? Like, this is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. I don't care. I could give two hoots what they are doing, because you know why? I know what God's going to do. I don't know how he's going to do it. I just know he's about to do it. So I don't care what law they pass. Now I'm going to pray against it, but I'm not moved by it.
That's right.
At all. Not what I don't flinch at what this fraudulent administration does or what they ever say. And no, give me a break.
Yeah, I go back to, in closing, I go back to what General Flynn said 2.5 years ago. He told me, and then he publicly said it, so I can say it now. He said they never thought we'd get back up. They never thought we'd get back up.
No, that's what that one prophetic word said that I gave on stage. They never thought you'd keep praying. They never thought you'd give up. They never thought you'd stay standing. They expected all of us, just like King Nebuchadnezzar, to bow. And if you don't bow, you won't burn, because the fourth man shows up, and the fourth man is our Lord. And so that's why we can never. I think of him on that cross, and I think of the sacrifices he made. That's why no matter how many times I've almost given up and taken my own life and given up and quit in certain situations in my own life personally, like, no, if Jesus didn't give up and he didn't give up on me, then I can't give up.
That's right.
On myself.
That's right.
It's so important.
Another Wednesday in the books. We go long, and it's incredible, and we could probably do marathons for 10, 12 hours.
We could.
Yeah, we
have
could.
so much fun.
Yes, we could. Yes.
We had unlimited time of just going and going and going.
That's right. The Spirit of the Lord would fill it all up, and we'd get to all the prophetic words. So anything you want to say in closing? We're going to have a general on after you. We're going to have General Bishop on today and talking about what they're doing to our armed forces and vaccines and all that.
Everybody pray for our military, but I just want to say, just this last, couple weeks, couple months, there's a lot of things are going to change that are going to change really quickly, and don't get upset about it, and don't be shocked or have it hit you, like out of nowhere. Just remember all of these words and what God is saying, and just start to celebrate.
Yep.
That's what we need to do, is start to celebrating and focus on him and what he's doing, because he wins and these people are not in control, and he's about to show you that.
And if and when the lights go out, we dance.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sad, especially if it goes. I don't think it'll go very long, but especially if we can't have our Wednesdays, I'm gonna be sad about that. But I will be. You'll be noticing if we can't see each other and there is blackness, and just know that I am dancing.
Yep, I'll be dancing too, because God has it and light wins. Julie Green, Wednesday. Thank you, Julie. We'll see you soon.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.